reason why we're here today is the farmers are being exploited back home in India. There's hundreds of thousands of people in the streets of India on like the M25 equivalent around the capital of Delhi. It's the world's largest protest in history, but it's not being shown on mainstream media. And the reason why we're here today is raise awareness of who they're giving their money towards here. So they've essentially passed 3 bills in their courts recently, and they have like a minimum support price at the moment. For example, they're getting 50p for a bag of rice. They're getting rid of that 50p. The corporation will now dictate how much they get for that. Instead, it can now be 5p because it's up to the corporations and not a national minimum wage that we have in England. And that's why we're here today, to raise awareness. These guys have been peacefully protesting for the last 2-3 weeks, and they've been met with police. And police are using whatever force they want to use because it's a developing country to get away with it, essentially. And the government don't really care about these protesters. And we're just trying to raise awareness in the Western countries, trying to put pressure on Boris Johnson, on the governments in the Western world, to try and raise awareness and try and bring this up to the people who have power, not the average Joe like myself. If there's any questions, feel free to give me a shout.
You've been protesting over the last 2 weeks, did you say?
Yeah.
How have you found the police's attitude towards you?
The police here?
Yes.
I don't know how to comment and lose my job, but some police have been great and they've understood why we're here and stuff. But the thing I don't understand is the reason why they make us disperse. They say COVID regulations, we can't all get into one small area and stuff like that. But if you go down to Covent Garden today, absolute chock-a-block. Police are standing there.
Have they tried to disperse you quickly and aggressively?
Yeah, so when we had the mass protest outside the Indian embassy, we had a allotted time for 2 hours. As soon as that 2 hours finished, the police were, in parts, were using force to make sure that crowd disperses, which I don't think is right, because if you go down to Covent Garden today, police are standing there watching shoppers in their tens, in their hundreds, in their thousands, and they're not dispersing them because they're allowed to do that.
They basically moved in, threatened everybody with arrest, and
exactly
bully boy tactics like they do with us on their
exactly that. But
like
in Covent Garden, police are standing there watching shoppers and they're not saying a word. But COVID exists in Covent Garden much as it does outside the Indian embassy. But why are they not raising awareness there, and why are they not using the same tactics they used when we did our protest? We have every right to this protest, and we're going to keep doing that.
The protesters outside are social distancing more than the customers inside.
Yeah.
So you're more likely to get COVID inside there.
Could I ask you for a comment on the video that was circulated on social media this week regarding the Sikh gentleman getting a punch in the face by a police officer?
Yeah, that's being investigated, and we haven't heard anything from the police as in what's happened, if that officer has been basically held to account for that.
Can we have a quick chat with you? Is that right?
Can I just finish this?
No, just quick. I've got to explain to you. Okay. So basically, at the minute, part of your protest, okay, the risk assessment about the COVID stuff hasn't been submitted to Westminster Council. No.
So we're being told that it's the paperwork.
Okay, yeah.
We've waited for a long.
So the issue is at the minute it hasn't.
Okay, that's fine.
So we've got to direct you guys to go home.
Okay.
Otherwise, fines will start being issued.
That's fine.
Does that make sense?
That's fine. You know what time the
He was walking, he was going, wasn't he?
Yeah. We've seen nothing since that. What's being done about that? A policeman, nothing being investigated. We put someone in the face.
a lot of mixed messages.
We've waited for a long period of time. Tell you now.
Why that go home?
Okay.
Direct you guys to go home.
I find it mighty disgusting because you did everything on the Indian protest. You followed the rules.
And still get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
Yeah, totally.
Show us.
Transparency. That's what I say. Transparency for everybody. Exactly.
I understand that the guys said that to us, and then we said, okay, so we're going to do a risk assessment. We've just got off the call to them now, and they're waiting from Westminster to approve it or decline it.
Yeah,
that's
so
what we're
that's what I'm
waiting
saying. At the minute there isn't. So if people don't start dispersing, fines will start being issued.
Will you know when it's been declined or accepted?
Part of a protest.
I'll be here by myself. I don't care about everyone else.
You're part of a protest. I'm protesting under the same
but
umbrella.
they could get rid of my banner.
I'm asking you to leave the area.
I could be here though.
So
hold that.
I could be here. But I'm advising you.
I could be
I'm
here.
encouraging you, and I'm asking you to leave the area because you're holding a banner.
I'm not.
You're part of the protest. Well, you ain't now, but you just was.
Yeah, but
it's
I'm
on
not
body
anymore.
worn.
I'm not anymore.
It's on body worn. So
Yes, I'm not protesting.
So I'm asking you to leave.
I'm not
because
protesting.
otherwise these guys will come and start giving you a fine.
Okay, but I'm not protesting. I'm
You
just
just
standing
was
here.
protesting.
I stopped now because you said to stop.
Stop. But as soon as I turn my back, you'll probably pick up a sign and start protesting.
Okay, if I do that, then you can say something. I've not done that.
And I believe you will. So I'm asking
Okay,
you
you
to leave
believe?
the area.
But I've not done that.
I'm asking you to leave the area.
I've not done that.
Okay. I've asked you to leave. I'll come back in a minute. If you don't, then you stop getting my phone.
Okay, if I'm
I've
holding a
explained to
banner,
you-
then you can say something.
I've explained to you.
Why can't I stand
I've
it?
explained to you why. I've explained to your friend why. There's no risk assessment in place. We're in the middle of
Yeah, I'm not
pandemic.
protesting, I'm standing
Okay,
here.
so the regulations.
I've got rid of my banner. I'm not even protesting.
But he's just held a banner.
I've stopped now. You told me to
Yeah,
stop.
no,
You
I
told me to
understand
stop.
that, but
I don't know why you're
when
raising
you're
your voice.
protesting and you pick up a sign again, then
Yeah,
enforcement will come in.
that's
place.
fine. If I pick a sign up,
Thank you very
yeah?
much.
If I pick a sign up,
That's what he said. Yeah.
that's cool. My hands are in my pocket.
I've got it on recording, it's fine.
Don't forget, it's public.
Yeah. Let's go.
Did you hear that?
Well, Pete. There's trigger.
This is public, alright? This is public, that is private. Yeah, you're right, mate, you've got it. Don't be quiet. That's an easement. That's an easement.
If you go down to Covent Garden today, yeah, why is the same attitude not applied to the shops in Covent
So,
Garden?
Stand Up X also has a protest that has all been dispersed.
Say again, sorry?
Stand Up X has had a protest today against vaccines and all that kind of stuff. They have also not submitted a risk assessment. They have been treated in the same way that you have. They have all dispersed.
I'm not on about that. I'm on about the shoppers.
What about them?
If you go to Covent Garden, I went to Covent Garden last week, yeah? There were thousands of shoppers, police stood there. COVID is still existed, but you didn't disperse that crowd there. But
Okay.
here,
I
because we're here,
okay.
yeah, not you, I'm not on about you,
Okay.
but I'm on about the police in general. Police stood there and they weren't dispersing the crowd because they're shopping. They're allowed to do that.
That's what
Why
I'm
am I
saying.
not allowed to, why am I spreading COVID by standing here and being with 2 or 3 other people around
Okay,
me?
well, look at how close we all are together, okay?
They're close,
This
it's
is-
shoppers. Go to Covent Garden, they're literally rubbing shoulders next to each other.
Okay, well, let's try and avoid it rather than just saying, oh, they do it, so it's okay that we do it, okay? Let's just
But
try and
why is
avoid
that
it.
police officer letting them do it, but I'm not allowed to do it here?
Right, you need to start moving on now, leaving, because people will start getting arrested, okay? People will start being issued fines.
You just,
I've told you.
You just tell another statement. now.
Okay, I'm telling you, you guys need to move on, otherwise fines will start being issued and people start getting arrested, okay?
Can you explain what I just said?
Pardon,
In reference to Covent Garden, shoppers aren't being treated like this.
Right, because they're out shopping, okay?
We are out shopping right now.
Well, you're not, you're
Okay,
saying,
I'll go to that shop, I'll buy something, I'm a shopper, yeah? So
You
if
start,
I
start
hold a
moving
shopping
on and going
bag,
home. I'm not going to keep debating. Okay, I've made a
what,
clear
it doesn't
statement.
make sense though.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. You debate in court if you want to. Okay, we'll arrest you. You can debate in court.
No, I've got work.
Go by him. Keep this back. No, you don't say. You don't as long as you separate.
We'll come back and advise as such, okay? Thank you, Roach. Take care.
Not with anyone.
George.
Yeah. That's what I'm asking. If I'm standing here by myself, that's calm, yeah?
Well, they're all talking and whispering to each other. They all know each other. You're with her because you've been talking to her. I know that. If I suspect you to be in a group of 6 or more, okay, I'm going to ask you to disperse. We all know the rule by now about gatherings. We're in tier 3. We're asking for public safety reasons. Can you please disperse to the place
Public
from
safety
where
reasons.
you live?
I
Are you
was
going to let me
walking along.
finish what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
did.
So you
You've
can
spoken
hear?
for ages.
Okay.
Yeah, carry on, keep going.
So, for that reason, that is the reason why we're asking you to leave, back to the place where you live. If you decide
Back to
not
where I
to,
live?
back to where you live,
Why?
not just disperse the other side of the road, back to the place where you live.
Why?
If you decide not to, I've already explained that, but you weren't listening, you were talking over me. Public safety and health
I find it
reasons.
really hard.
Okay?
I find it hard of hearing. I find it really. You're standing very close to me, which helps, but I cannot hear you when you've got your mask on. I've already
I'm
said
not
that
going to take
you.
my mask off for
Okay,
your
fine.
safety, just in case.
But
Okay?
don't be surprised if I don't hear everything that you say. I'm doing my best.
Everyone else, you're
Right.
the only person today that hasn't, I'm not stupid, alright? You're the only person today that's had difficulty, and I'm sure the people watching that camera can hear what I'm saying, so they'd realise that you can certainly hear that as well.
And they do not have a hearing impairment like I do.
Right,
I've told
okay.
your colleague that,
Right.
and I've just told you.
Now, you obviously heard what I've said to you.
I've heard
You're
some
replying.
of what you've said, yes.
So, for that reason, I'm going to ask you to disperse, and I'm just explaining that the reason if you don't disperse, you are then liable to a £200 fixed penalty.
But you've asked me to disperse and I'm walking along with one person.
Right, no, you're part of a group here. No, I'm not. I believe you to be, because you're all talking to one another. You clearly know each other. You clearly know her. She's whispering to him. The whole thing's been for that reason. I don't need to explain. I've given you my reasons, okay? I've given you the reasons. Yeah. For that reason now, I'm going to ask you to leave, okay? I'm not going to stand here and have a long debate about it. I will take that as a refusal to leave, in which case you'll be issued with a £200
You just asked
penalty
me to listen
notice.
to until the end of what you were saying, so I can't leave.
You will then be given a £200
Right, I'm going to leave now.
Thank you very much.
You touching me?
Move away.
Back, step back, move back! Get away! Get away! Move away! Move We're picking him away now! Yeah, go on, take him away! I'm taking him away! Boss, he said take him away, I'm taking him away! You just said that!
I appreciate you filming, just take a few steps back for me, thank you. I appreciate you said that.
This is getting jumped.
Stay back.
Back! Get back, everyone! Get back!
That's my equipment, you prick!
Thank you very much. Keep going that way, though, boss. Not to my side. Move back.
We still on? Are we still? Did we see that? Did we see that? Wow. I'm on.
Guys, you're breaching the Public Health Act. You need to go home. Cold, leave.
I'm back. Are we back? Wow. Copper pushed me. Wow. Absolutely mental.
Don't think everyone's a drink. I want to be dealing with people here. Just speak to people. They're hanging around.